Welcome, one and all, to this week's episode of The Síle Show. We're joined today by two truly remarkable ladies, Nicole Gordon and Emilia Gordon of I Am Beauty UK. Not of the same family, not even maritally, but a very special sistership nonetheless. I Am Beauty UK isn't just another cosmetics brand. It's much, much more than that. It's an ideology, a movement. Born out of a desire to empower and uplift through beauty, the brand celebrates confidence, inclusivity, and positivity in every product they bring to market. With mindful makeup messages and daily affirmations at its core, I Am Beauty creates cosmetics that remind us all that self-worth and well-being are just as important as, and in fact, probably inform, to all intents and purposes, what we see when we look in the mirror. Beauty is an inside job, and it starts with how you feel about you. It ripples thereafter, commensurately, outward, consciously and unconsciously. Nicole, as visionary founder and owner of the company, brings her passion for beauty and self-empowerment to everything she creates, crafting products that she intends will make people feel seen, strong, affirmed, and most importantly, more than enough, just as they are. Emilia, as Marketing Director for the brand, champions confidence and inclusivity. As a mental health advocate herself, Emilia brings survivor-led and trauma-informed insight to company culture and sales strategy. Together, they're shaping a brand that isn't just about makeup. It's about mindset, identity, and it's also hugely about healing. So let's dive in. Let's uncover their own personal backstories. Let's explore how beauty, mental health, and affirmation have dovetailed beautifully for this innovative brand in ways that transform not just faces, but lives. Nicole and Emilia, the heartiest of Síle Show welcomes to you two lovelies.
Thank you so much.
We are so excited to be here.
It's just great to have you. Nicole, I'm going to start with you. Will you introduce us to the person behind the brand?
Yes, no problem. So my name's Nicole. I am 35 from Northern Ireland and I own a cosmetics brand called I Am Beauty. Now, the reason I started I Am Beauty was because I was very much struggling with my self-image, with self-confidence, and I was always into makeup. So from a young age, I absolutely loved makeup, loved everything about it, loved the fact that you can put a mask on your face and you can become a different person. And around that time, as I said, I was struggling with my self-confidence and how I looked and just self-love, really. I was really, really struggling with that side of it. So I was going through all of, the big global brands like MAC, Estee Lauder, all of the brands that I looked up to at that stage and all the brands that I would have used as a makeup artist. And I noticed that every single one of their advertising campaigns never used a model that looked like me. So I really took that moment, and I was actually in a yoga class. This is how the idea came up, so it's a bit random, but I was in a yoga class and our instructor had been talking about daily affirmations and how it's so important to speak to yourself in a positive light. And I was driving home from that yoga class and I was thinking, I am strong, I am beautiful, I am brave. And I started trying to say that to myself in the morning each day while I was getting ready. And something just happened. It was like a click, and it was just along the lines of, why is no brands incorporating mindfulness and daily affirmations with beauty products? So it shouldn't be just about putting your makeup on and feeling good, or looking good. You should feel good on the inside. So my background actually started with business. My dad owns a pharmacy chain up in the north, so I was very driven into owning my own brand and becoming an entrepreneur and following his footsteps. I took a bit of time out to travel. I did a degree, moved over to London, and these are all platforms that kind of took me to where I eventually needed to be. And it was just that one day in 2019 that everything just clicked, that everything fell together, and it was time for me to do something by myself. And that was when I Am Beauty was born. And since the business has been a success, I will say that I have found so much more self-love, so much more self-confidence, and I finally accepted myself for who I am, which I think without doing this journey, I probably wouldn't be where I am today mentally, not even with the business aspect. I think through self-love and everything, I wouldn't have it without the beauty brand.
The success in business, the understanding of yourself and the seeing of yourself as a very beautiful person. I'm prompted to ask, why did you not see the beauty in you? What was that moment? You said the brand. Did you say that the other brands weren't using models like you? And what type of models were they using?
They were using very stereotypically beautiful minds. So it would be, we were watching the America's Next Top Model thing, for instance, yesterday. It would be very stereotypical models. So beautiful, blonde, slim, petite, just like Margot Robbie kind of vibes, that kind of thing. And it was just always looking for perfection. It wasn't looking for reality. So when I built I Am Beauty, we really wanted to focus on every single day women and just prove that each and every one of us are beautiful on the inside and on the outside. You do not need to be a particular weight or particular hair color, eye color to be a model. You can be a model at any shape, size, age, anything. So that was something that I really took away at the start of our journey. It was very much that I wanted to focus on the beauty of everybody rather than just a particular niche.
I love it. And it's that whole concept of beauty being an inside out game, as within without and as without within.
Yeah.
And it is something that we probably do need to negotiate from the inside out. And the rest would be commensurately relevant or in alignment with that.
Absolutely.
Fabulous. Emilia, will you introduce us to the person behind the marketing director of I Am Beauty?
Absolutely. Hello. My name is Emilia. I am a mental health advocate and a proud plus size fashionista as well. I'm also I Am Beauty's marketing director, here to represent the team today. My personal story has been a bit of a roller coaster. I struggled with my mental health for a very long time when I was young. And when I was 16, it came to a head. I tried to take my own life and ended up in hospital for 6 months trying to recover to a point where I could see a future. Embrace mental health as a very rounded concept. I don't think that anybody has good mental health or bad mental health. I think it's the same as your physical health. You can have areas that are good and bad, and it's multifaceted. And I think that you need to make conscious choices to try and better your environment to then better your mental health. And I guess that kind of swung me around to being fortunate enough to collide with I Am Beauty. It's a brand that just resonated so aggressively with my personal messaging of you are enough, exactly as you are, even down to the name of the brand. I am beauty, you are beauty, as you are already. And that's why I am with you today. Happy to be with Nicole. Kind of just a meeting of missions that aligned really well. And it's an absolute pleasure to be a part of a brand that doesn't just play lip service to, mental health matters and diversity is important. It actually is reflected in the people behind it. It's kind of the building blocks of us as people. And that's what we bring forward to the brand rather than back to front. You have a brand that's propped up with these values, but they're not reflected in the actions or the people behind them. So it's an absolute pleasure to be here today and to be advocating still to talk about mental health always, all the time. It can be a little bit of a hump at the start where you're saying, something's a bit weird or I've struggled with this before, but as soon as it's out there, you're flying. And I think conversations are such a massive point of getting everybody past it together. Like talking about it helps everybody, whether you have more struggles with your mental health or less struggles with your mental health, whether you are very, very thin or have a lot of extra weight. Body positivity helps us all in the way that we think about it ourselves. It's a universal experience that, as I said, is so impacted by the things that we surround ourselves with. So.
Sure. Thank you so much, Emilia.
Not at all. Big rant there. Sorry, I kind of couldn't stop myself.
No, it was lovely. It was absolutely lovely. Thank you. And I'm so sorry to hear that you had those struggles that were so challenging for you, but I honour you and commend you for being this side of it and then levelling up to the point where you're ready to become visible in the space and flex those visibility muscles on the topic to help other people to realise it normalises it to some extent without hyper-normalising into a silence, rather normalising just to give people permission to feel sad as well and know that there is something on the far side of adversity.
That's it. I think it can be something which is very easy to slide into mental health struggles. And I think voicing them and talking about them kind of helps prevent that in a way that if you address it early on, if you nip it early on, it can really help relieve the impact on yourself. It's just getting over the building block of feeling like silly for talking about it or being embarrassed for talking about it and getting out there and saying, there's probably a lot more people than you would ever think have similar struggles.
Oh, for sure. I think nowadays more than ever, anxiety continues to be on the rise, and for a myriad of reasons. We haven't sussed it, at all. We talk about it, awareness is raised, but I'm not sure that the prevalence of it is reduced to commensurately. So, Nicole, can you tell me then this gorgeous alignment of ideologies and people that actually have the same surname but aren't related, as we said in the intro, in blood, but a sistership nonetheless. You were friends for quite a while.
Absolutely, yeah. So the backstory of Emilia and I is actually a bit of a random one. I lived in Belfast for a long time, and I had a dog called Marley. And I actually met, you're going to think this is so random, why is she bringing up her dog? But I actually met Emilia as she was my dog walker for 2 years. 3 years.
I think a bit more than that, but yeah.
A good few years. And we had just met through an app. And then it was just one day I had said to her, do you want to come in and have a coffee?
We were finding ourselves sort of loitering by the door, chatting as I was handing her dog over. Yeah. And it was such a beautiful friendship to come from work.
Literally, it was so random. It was just one day I was like, do you want to stay? And then I think it was about a week or two later, we had a sleepover and had dinner, and just that was it. We now see each other at least once a week.
I love that story. And it actually, it speaks to the fact that there were so many types of love. I love that you were being somewhat thespian in your demonstration of loitering in the door and the sleepovers. They're kind of throwaway statements. But isn't it amazing? Because fondness and friendship grow us so hugely. It's like the greenhouse of being better versions of ourselves. I have a lovely friend as well, whom I met in the gym quite randomly. Oh, like at this stage, it's probably nearly 20 years ago, but we were grown-ups with all of our other friend groups and rearing children, and we were never going to meet each other, except that we both went and weren't even consistent about it, but on a given evening, we were both at a class in the gym. And I moved up to the top row in this particular class as we were waiting for the instructor to take off. And I said to this girl, hi, sorry. Now, the music was beginning to take off and people were a bit disgruntled that I would push my way through. And I said, sorry, no, I'm not taking your place. I just want to say something to this girl. I went up and I touched this girl on the shoulder and I said, hi. She was wearing a lovely hairband. And I said, is your name Cara? Now, Cara is Irish language for friend. And that's significant. And she said, no, but she was quite warm. And I said, oh, sorry, I thought it was somebody else. I went back down, did my class, and I went into school the next day. I was a teacher for 30 years. And I said to this lovely little girl who said, you've still not met my mum, have you? Her name is Cara. She works in the gym. And I said, oh, I thought I met her last night, but I didn't. Oh, I will. I'll see her eventually. And I met that other girl a few more times. And because I had broken the ice, however randomly, we chatted and we talked and we have become the best carja, which is Irish language for friends. Mm-hmm. So my initial, is your name Cara, has become a friendship that has literally saved my life and carried me through so many difficult times, and I for her. And it is so, I think we underestimate the value of friendship.
Absolutely. I love that story. That's so lovely. It just shows that you can meet anybody anywhere and they could end up being the best friend.
And it can dovetail into business. Mm-hmm. It can perhaps, introduce you then to other friend groups. And I think loneliness is such an epidemic, mm-hmm. and it speaks to your brand as well so hugely. If people are feeling alone or sad and not feeling good about themselves inside out, the affirmations on your brands might be just the kickstart that it needs for them to have a better relationship with themselves and then help them to have those startup conversations with people in the world around them.
Absolutely.
So do you tell me then about the affirmations? Do you come up with these affirmations yourself, or are they something that you're working through, I suppose, social media to find, or do you take a lead maybe from your clients?
At the very start, it was affirmations that I came up by myself. So we launched with 10 lipsticks, and we had affirmations like, I am powerful, I am brave, I'm strong. We still have I am strong. And then we discontinued a few colours and we brought out new ones. And that's when we started to ask our audience what they would want. So we named I am passionate was one. One was I am fearless. So we do lean into our community. Like, we have definitely built a very good community over the past couple of years, and I wholeheartedly believe in everything that they say. So I do go to them quite often and ask, what do you think? What would you like it to be called? And I often think that if somebody names a lipstick or names a product from a brand that they like, if they're then using it, it makes them feel a wee bit more empowered.
It does. And it's really good for the brand as well, because when you take it from the ground up, you're empowering other people just at that level alone to check in, to maybe engage. And community is huge.
Yeah.
Community is huge. That sense of digital community. I'm launching a Swipe Less, Relate More membership group for people who haven't had success on Tinder, feel very sad, very othered, very tired of the process, quite scared of it. And they're going to meet together with the mentorship of a qualified psychotherapist and practicing psychotherapist, and just gives people an opportunity to chat in a digital mentored space with each other rather than just swiping right or left and feeling, uncared for and unseen and unheard. And I think equally, when you go to your community regarding your product, you're raising people up, and then you're giving people the chance to raise each other up. So they're so engaged with you. Absolutely. And is this where you come into the picture then, Emilia? Do you market from that level, or do you market the questions out to the community first?
Bits and pieces. I find that mostly marketing for I Am Beauty is just conveying the messages that are already there. So it's kind of just explaining to people that maybe haven't met us before what this all means, what mindful makeup as a concept even really is, where beauty and confidence kind of diverge with this, and what we can offer people above and beyond. This will make you look good. It's all about this will make you feel good. I think that we as a society got so used to only seeing, as Nicole touched on earlier, one thin lens of beauty, that it started to really impact everybody's self-esteem, because nobody really looks like that. And I model myself, and I know that even the models don't look a lot of the times like what you see in the adverts at the end. We are airbrushed and photoshopped and manipulated and changed about, and people nowadays have to constantly be vigilant that what they maybe see isn't real life. And that's kind of where I Am Beauty tries to be a little bit different. And we bring on board mums and business owners and people that maybe aren't traditionally sort of social media content focused, just real individuals. And we get them to come and be a part of our marketing campaigns and tell their stories. We recently launched a whole event about wellness and what wellness meant to different members of our community. And I think it's just so refreshing to get to a place where we can all come together and share our experiences and grow from it. Yeah. I think you briefly touched on earlier about how you're running a group for people that maybe haven't had success in the digital realm with connecting. And I think in terms of all connections, all human connections, time is the most important thing you can invest. And I think that that's where we try and come in terms of our community. We give them a lot of time to tell us how they feel, what they think about things, what the shade should be. And we take the time to listen to that and build things around it.
Fantastic. So people, again, at so many levels are feeling seen, heard and valued. And really, when you pare everything back, it is quite as simple as that. If we could feel important, that we matter to people and or to a community, digitally or not, it's a nice starting block to feeling like we matter to ourselves, because we can tend to be so other focused and engaged with people pleasing and rushing to work and dealing with all of our other commitments that we forget about the most important part of the picture, which is self from the inside out. So Nicole, what does wellness mean to you?
Wellness to me, actually, we had this conversation last week. As Emilia said, we had a wellness event recently and we asked everybody what wellness means to them. Wellness to me means taking time out for yourself, and whether that means I'm obsessed with my red light therapy mask. So I will go up to bed a little bit early, put a hair mask on, a face mask on, read a book, use my red light therapy. It's just taking moments out from your day to really just focus on yourself, whether it's journaling, reading a book. As I said, I do love to journal. I just think it's all about focusing on what you need in that moment. And wellness can also be from one end of the spectrum to the other. Wellness could be, I need a night out with my girls on the town. Wellness can be, I need a night out by myself with no partners, other halves, friends around me. So it can really be whatever you need in that moment. I don't think there's this general specification for wellness. I think we should all deal with it in the way we want to and what we need.
I couldn't agree more. I think it's a lovely idea to consider the harmony that we need. So if you consider an orchestra and the lovely harmony that it strikes, it won't be all components of the orchestra playing an equal percentage at any given time. It's whatever is required within a certain phrase to bring out the best harmony. So on a given day, it might be to go to bed early. Mm-hmm. On another day, it might be the bubble bath, all of the typical self-help things that we can do. But on another day, as you say, absolutely, I need connection. When we're lonely or too busy and we haven't had a good old chinwag, out is where we need to be with our pals, and probably more so with the pals than the out. But the out can cause the collective effervescence that allows everybody then to have their best time.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah, and so it's the variety and being open to that, open to everything and attached to nothing.
Oh, I love that.
I love that.
That's absolutely. Yeah.
So Emilia, what does wellness mean to you then?
Similarly to Nicole, wellness to me is about balance. I think that you need to be sympathetic to the fact that you are a human being, not a robot, not a society constructed clean girl, perfect machine. And sometimes you will need to sleep in. Sometimes you will need to think, I just can't cook a healthy meal prep right now. I'm going to ring a takeaway. Sometimes it will be, as you say, to go out with your girls, have a few drinks, have a dance and live. I think that there's also a space for walking your dog and having a nice long shower and doing things that make you feel good in the moment that you're living in. And I think it's about balance. I think it's about embracing all of these wonderful parts of life and just really making time to be in your body and enjoy yourself.
And again, yeah, you're so right. And just showing up differently to the different moments, but inhabiting that completely. I think it's about the response that we have sometimes to doing these things. We might do them, but if we're not really letting ourselves off the hook to really inhabit the moment, it can cause a different stress. So it actually, again, is the inside out piece. You know, the happiness is an inside job, and it's over a period of time practicing the art of self-care with the broadest bandwidth we possibly can. And I think sometimes even the word balance, and I honour it as a word, and I know where it comes from, but I think the word balance even nowadays causes a little bit of stress, because work-life balance as a term sometimes arrests people in their moment, say, oh gosh, I haven't done any of the, you know, the play things. I must do the play things. And they can somewhat prescribe the play. But as you say, if you're, you know, loose in your interpretation of it and you look for the harmony, not the balance. Balance might suggest 50-50. We're never going to get 50-50. If we were doing a 50-50 work play, we wouldn't earn enough money to pay our bills, and we wouldn't, you know, it just wouldn't work nowadays. But harmony, 20% today, 80% another day, 5% today, big payback another day. It's just that nice, you know, middle ground on minding ourselves. And remember as well that self-care is other care. So when we look after ourselves, even if we do find it difficult to carve out the time to do that, by so doing, we are better for the people in our lives, the special people in our lives.
You can't pour from an empty cup. Isn't that what they say?
Absolutely.
For sure. So who are the special people in your life now, Nicole, that you look after when you look after you?
I would say my partner. I've just recently got engaged in December there. So my partner, Chris, I have 5 crazy dogs that I have to look after. One is a puppy that we just got actually too. And then obviously Emilia, my close friends and my family I have quite a tight knit group now. Whereas when I was younger, I wanted quality over quantity for friends and that kind of relationship. Whereas now I'm very much into keeping the circle small, but very, very close.
Yeah.
So I'm very lucky. I have a lot of really, really good people in my life.
Yeah, that's what I wondered. I think as we mature to some extent, the need for larger friend groups and being able to be the loudest person in the room and having the wildest night to record diminishes and finds its place way back and way down the list over the importance of just being seen, heard and valued within a small ecosystem that grows us. So clearly you're at that space. And Emilia, who are the special people in your life?
Likewise, Nicole and all my dear friends, absolutely. My mum, I'm incredibly close to my mum. I'm very fortunate. And my husband. I also have a dog and 2 cats. So full house for me as well. I feel very blessed. You know, when you spell it all out and you list it all out, there's really quite a few people. And I think that's probably the same for everybody out there. Maybe initially you might think, I'm a little bit lonely. You know, other people have all these friends. I only have 1 or 2. And if you sit down and write it all out, you start seeing there's more people there for you than you think.
Very true. And sometimes I think even the number of people we feel we have available to us is again a reflection of how we really feel, how close we are to ourselves at any given time, and which, of course, brings us back to the original conversation, which is about loving ourselves and showing up for the loving ourselves as a practice, not a mandate. So tell me, what were the biggest adversities that you experienced in your life, Nicole? You mentioned you travelled and all of the wonderful things that you did that took you to the point where you were ready to launch your business. Did you experience adversity in your life that you felt was an important roadblock at first sight, but that really gave you everything you needed thereafter to level up and become the next better version of yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. And stuff are so important for everybody's journey, and I think we all go through something that changes your life. And I was very lucky to not have anything of a great magnitude when I was younger. I will say I probably sailed through life quite easily for a long period of time. And just before my brand, obviously, I'd worked in different companies over in London and was bullied in one of my workplaces. That was really not ideal. I felt very lonely over there. I moved to Australia. I felt again lonely over there. And I just never I never thought that I found my place in life. So I was almost traveling so much to try and search for myself more than anything. And then I'm going to be really honest. I had said from a very young age that I would not live in Northern Ireland, that I would move away, that I would have this fabulous life in LA or America or somewhere around those lines. And here I am, obviously very, 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 very focused and very content in Northern Ireland. But there was a long period of time that I didn't think that. My probably biggest challenge in life was more recent. It was actually while I had I Am Beauty. I had a very bad and toxic relationship. And I'm going to be honest, I fell out of love with I Am Beauty. I fell out of love with myself. I'd hit probably rock bottom, probably the lowest I'd ever been. And it was my business and my friends, my family, and my dogs actually that got me out of it, because it was a really, really difficult time. This one especially came and stayed with me quite a lot, God love her.
I was happy to move in.
Yeah, she practically moved in.
I had a great, we had loads of nights in.
Yeah.
We watched so many films.
Yeah.
That was a time in my life where, although you were struggling, I think back on it so fondly because we got to spend so much time together.
Absolutely.
It's the ultimate reframe. I love that. It is the ultimate reframe. So they were huge adversities. There, you've identified probably some of the biggest learning spaces that most people go through in the great scatter, as Mel Robbins calls it, from the time you leave school until the time you settle down in a marital relationship or a relationship with a significant other, and maybe have your own family. Your friends go in all sorts of different directions. You try different jobs and, shimmy in and out of different spaces and places in employment and geopolitically until you work out who you are, what you believe in, and kind of come home to yourself. Mm-hmm. But they're ubiquitous learnings. People are finding themselves in toxic relationships, and then they're working out through that what their own attachment style is like. And then they're learning how to make the adjustments and to put in the really important boundaries. So boundaries are not to keep people out, but they're really to show people where the door in is, and equally the distance from which you can love you and them in equal measure. So hugely important learning times in your life. And you're obviously the far side of all of that now and feeling very content.
Thankfully.
Yes. I'm looking forward to a wedding.
Yes, absolutely. Very
Amazing.
much so. We're getting married in December, so.
Oh, Christmas.
Oh, go. Yeah.
Oh, that is gorgeous. That is absolutely gorgeous. And particularly in your line of business, it's going to be a very high glam affair, I'm sure.
Yes, absolutely. We're in the middle of planning the hen party, and it's basically going to be sponsored by I Am Beauty.
Delighted to hear it. Why wouldn't it be? Emilia, what about the adversities that you alluded to as you introduced yourself in the beginning?
I've had quite the full spectrum. I am a child sexual assault survivor. I'm a domestic violence survivor. A lot of my friends have unfortunately passed away. 3 of my closest friends have died, 2 of which mental illness related. It has been a road. I'm also queer. I've got ex-girlfriends in Northern Ireland. That can be difficult. Members of my family are very religious. That can be difficult. I'm fortunate in a way to have experienced a lot of what life has to offer. I know that sounds really strange, but my life has been very full. I've had so many wonderful things and so many things that have taught me a lot. And there's magic in that. There's something to be said for growing through what you go through. When I mentioned previously I'd been into hospital, when that happened, I kind of hit a point in my life where I couldn't see a path through what I was going through at that time. Sometimes it takes time. In fact, I'd say it always takes time. And it doesn't just magically come to you from the sky one day. I think slowly, bit by bit, you see an inch and then another inch and you just go forward. And a support network is everything. I can't even count the amount of times that you were there for me when I was going through all these mad, crazy things, and having people there that you knew even if every other element of your life was falling apart, they would still be there. That keeps you going. That's everything. So, yeah, that's my little fun overview of traumas.
Wow, you're amazing. You're absolutely amazing.
You'd be shocked how many people have them. You would be shocked how many people you have friends for years and you mention something and they say, actually, that happened to me too when I was very young, or this happened. And people that you would never expect, because it really is the human experience, unfortunately, to experience, I guess.
And survivor-led lived experience conversations like this, I think, are they're more important than any theory you can ever read or any course you could attend. Because when you can see somebody in the flesh that has been there and is willing to share their survival story, I really do feel, and I see it in my own practice, that it's probably the greatest green lighting of an opportunity for somebody else within, even if it's only a flicker, to begin to look at things differently. And I think the greatest adversity, really, that people that are stuck in any place of suffering is to think that tomorrow is going to be the same as today. Some people get comfortable with the discomfort. They don't believe they're worthy of anything more. And until they hear a survivor-led story, they really feel that that's what they're destined for. And then they see, oh, there can be life. On the other side of fear is love. And that's what I'm hearing from you, Emilia.
I think you believe what you get told over and over and over again. So I'm kind of making it my mission to tell everybody you will be okay over and over and over again. And I think that's what I Am Beauty does as well, is tell people over and over and over again, you are strong, you are loyal, you are beautiful, you've got this. And it's so rewarding. Like, I can't even explain how amazing it is to get to be involved.
I can feel that. I can absolutely feel it. It's a movement and I'm in it now with you, girlies. We're doing this together. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. So what are the things that you would like to do within the business now that you haven't done yet? Do you have big plans? I'm quite sure probably where you're at is sufficient business-wise until you get the wedding, or you're probably going to lead into the wedding and enjoy it and keep things where you're at. But thereafter, where will you take the business?
See, to be honest, there is no pausing with this business. Like, yes, my focus should be on the wedding constantly, but I am 110% in. As I said recently or previously, there was a time where I fell out of love with the business. I am so invested in it now that it is me. It's in my veins. It's in my blood every single day. And I will not stop until this little beauty brand of mine becomes as big of a movement as possible. We have so many ideas coming. We have so many new products coming. It's just an ever growing cycle for us. And yeah, I'm truly, truly blessed that it's a part of my life now. And I thank my lucky stars every day that it's brought me so many people that I'm now best friends with through the business. It's brought me so many friends, and even people I don't know who are probably our biggest supporters are strangers from the internet. So there is no stopping us. Absolutely not. We have so many new things coming. We're actually working on 2 new products at the minute that are very close to
launching.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah,
so it's a two-way conversation. As you grow the business and it feathers your nest,
yeah.
So it grows you and helps you to be a better version of yourself. And you've got purpose. Meaning and purpose are so important to, again, the meeting of a basic emotional need, to have a reason to bounce out of the bed in the morning. The people that you're collaborating with, those people in your community that you don't maybe know in real time, but that you believe in, that gives you a dopamine high that nothing else could match.
Absolutely.
And Emilia, what about you now? So you have your plus size modelling as well. Tell us about this and what's coming down the line for you.
Well, I am walking in London Fashion Week, which is an absolute joy. Plus size modelling to me started as kind of a hobby. Nicole was one of the first people to ever ask me to model for her. Mm-hmm. When I Am Beauty started, as we mentioned earlier, it was very much friends and people we knew. We wanted real people. So I was your dog walker and you were like, you come with me. And I was so joyed to be invited. And from there, more and more brands and clothing companies and all sorts asked me to be invited for them too. And it wasn't that I kind of saw myself as a model, but I thought to decline would be a disservice to the mission, like, of just being different and being visible. I think that it can be really difficult for, as brands lead and follow society, the more that people get comfortable seeing just one sphere of beauty in their marketing as a population, the less the brands will facilitate adding in people that are different. And the more that people see different people in their campaigns, the more they will demand it. So they kind of cycle together. And I think that I can just be a part of that by showing up and being photographed and just being
your fabulous self.
Just being there,
I was
you
just
know.
going to say, the energy is just intoxicating. It's gorgeous. And so that's what you're being. You're being your fabulous self in the space. And again, just casting that net so far and wide to so many other people to be the same. That's one of the huge advantages. I mean, there are so many downsides to tech and so many downsides to digital, but there are so many plus sides as well. And this is it. I mean, it gives a visibility to people who mightn't previously have had it. And there are so many shapes and forms of jobs and things to do where we can earn our currency in a way that grows us as well from the inside out.
There's so much conversation online about how we feel in ourselves. And I think that that needs to be something that we're talking about more and more. I get a lot of messages, people being like, seeing you wear a bikini made me feel like I could wear a bikini, which it's strange that the cause and effect of just showing up is that other people feel like they can just show up. And I think that that's something everyone forgets, that again, it kind of comes back to I am beauty, but you're okay as you are. You're okay just to show up and do your thing as you are. And you never know, you might inspire other people to show up and do their thing just as they are. And it's kind of beautiful. It makes a better society for everybody to exist in.
For sure. And I think as well, you said cause and effect. And what I'm hearing is causing an effect. It's that lovely ripple going outward and then coming back and shoring up all of these other people who are feeling more confident in themselves because of what you do. So, of course, that fills your cup to do more of exactly that, which is fantastic. So, Nicole, tell me, what does a day in the life of a business owner, founding member, visionary, businesswoman, tell me, what does a day in your life look like?
A typical day in my life is actually sometimes quite boring. They're never really the same. So 9 times out of 10, I will get up in the morning. I will go to either the gym, I go to PT near my house, or else I go to Reformer Pilates. I then come back, do a bit of admin, we'll play with the dogs, get a bit of lunch, do a wee bit more admin. I could be at an event one day. Tomorrow I'm at an event all day. It just depends. I think the beauty of my life in the beauty industry is that no day looks exactly the same. The only thing I do try to do religiously is the gym. And sometimes I am okay at that. Sometimes I feel at that, but that's okay. But yeah, I think that's why I'm so happy to be in this position I am now, because owning your own brand releases so much more than just a little bit of, what's the word? Freedom. It allows you to build your day and build whatever way you want your week to look like. So
it's life by design, isn't
absolutely,
it?
yeah, absolutely.
Fantastic.
One day can be one way, one day can be the other.
Which is so sustaining and so motivating in equal measure.
Yeah.
So you mentioned the gym, and we're talking about beauty products, which is definitely outside in, but we have so much more going on with this ideology, this movement, because we're very much affirming people as we use these products. But the gym is obviously very important too as well. So building muscle, body composition, sense of self. You said that you're loyal to the gym. You might fail forward sometimes. Yeah. We don't always get there. But why is it so important, Nicole?
As I said, I've always struggled with my self-image. I lost about 8 stone in the past 2 years. And that is probably why I'm so focused on the gym. At the start of this year, though, I've been really bad. I will admit, I have not been as many times as I should. But
balance,
balance, literally. But that's
harmony. I'm
harmony.
I'm going for harmony over balance, because balance, I think that's what I actually mean by balance. I think balance makes us say things like, I haven't been as good as I should have been, because we're thinking the 50-50. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
If you have a month of 20% of your best attending the gym or doing the things that you've decided are better for you, that's not ideal. But the next month, you might give it 80% over the month. So over the 2 months, you've struck the balance. Mm-hmm. But if you're looking for the harmony, you're not really putting yourself under that subliminal pressure. So
I love that.
Let yourself off the hook. It's balance. We have a new product called Balance.
Yeah, absolutely.
And a new
I love
product
that.
called Harmony.
Harmony. Yeah. Our next lipstick's going to be Harmony.
Harmony. I love it. I absolutely love it. Striking the harmony. So a moment for you've lost 8 stone.
Yeah.
In 2 years.
3 years, roughly 2-3 years.
Okay. So we had Tom McKenna on the show last week, and we discussed GLP-1s, mm-hmm. we discussed lifestyle medicines, we discussed first principles. It's an amazing interview. If you haven't listened to it, please do. Actually, I'm ahead of myself because it hasn't landed yet. No, sorry, it hasn't landed yet. We recorded, it hasn't landed yet. So hit notifications wherever you are. You do not want to miss this one.
Absolutely.
We also give Andrew pause its moment on that particular interview. But talk to me about weight loss, weight management, why you engaged with that process to lose the weight, because it was clearly a commitment. It was a marriage of minds, hearts and souls.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have always, from a young age, I was naturally slim. I would have been a dancer. I was horse riding. I was very, very active. And that progressed on until my late 20s. And then I found boys and alcohol. And that's when the weight unfortunately popped on. Then I was in COVID. Again, I wasn't in a happy relationship. Neither of us were happy. So we just ate our feelings. And then after that, I think I came out and I just decided enough's enough. I want to be happy. I want to be confident. At that moment, I Am Beauty was building. And there was a lot of events that I wouldn't go to because I was afraid of how I looked or that people would judge me. And I just wasn't confident in who I was. So I think it was 2019, I kind of started my journey, but I really only started losing weight in the past 3 years and put my mind to it. I did have some help with the GLP-1s at the start. And then I went off it and did the rest by myself.
Well done. So you went on GLP-1s first.
Yeah.
So this would have been pre the big GLP moment that
Yes.
we're having right now.
Yeah.
So did you have diabetes type 2?
Nope.
Were you pre-diabetic?
Nope.
No.
I had a friend that who had lost a lot of weight she was diabetic, and she had recommended this. At this stage, nobody was really talking about it. It was very, very early, and I didn't even really talk about it. And then, yeah, it was the thing that I needed at that moment to kickstart my journey. And if I need it again, I will 100% go back on it.
That's a very interesting point. Okay, so that's your own personal perspective. And how long did you stay on it the first time?
I think the first time I was on it for about 6 months, but it wasn't steadily. I think you're meant to be doing it once a week and do all that stuff. I wasn't.
Oh, were you not? So you
No.
weren't being monitored or managed by a pharmacist. So did you get it through a doctor or a weight
Online.
management clinic?
Online.
Oh, see, you could at that stage. You can't now.
No, you can't now.
Yeah, you can't now. But that's big pharma just playing tricks as well. That's gamifying things as well, because they've now realised that there's such a market for it. It became unavailable for a while. Of course, that ups the ante and everybody wants it then, and people are confused, and in the space in between the stools, people will fall. So again, lived experience is so valuable, and thank you for sharing with us. So which one did you go on?
I was on Ozempic.
Okay, and was that because that was the only one that was available?
Yeah,
or
at that time.
You had heard about it. Okay. Was it an EpiPen? Not an EpiPen, but is it a little
needle? Yes, the wee
needle,
injection.
Yes. And where were you injecting into?
Depends. Sometimes it was my stomach, sometimes it was my arms, sometimes it was my thighs. Just depended
Was
on
that
what
sore
day.
or challenging or difficult? No, you didn't mind.
No, I still remember the first time I tried it, and I rang my friend and I was like, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? Because I was terrified of needles.
Yeah.
And no, absolutely fine. I take NAD injections now, which is for cell renewal and DNA renewal and all that stuff. And I take them once every couple of days, and it's exactly the same. Doesn't faze me at all.
Okay.
Beauty is pain sometimes.
You do what you got to do.
Yeah.
And then, so you stayed on it for the 6 months, but you say that you weren't consistent.
No.
Is that just because you didn't have an accountability partner, or you weren't really invested in it?
I don't think I was invested in it. I think the reason that I lost a lot of the weight was when I actually put my mind to it. I think at that stage I was looking for a quick way and just to see what happened. And yes, I lost weight quickly, but then it was once I put my mind to it and really wanted to change how I ate, how I focused on my eating, exercising, all of that kind of things. That's when everything did actually change for me. Now, don't get me wrong, I have a Chinese at the weekend. We're going out this weekend for a drink or two, but I don't.
Drink or 10.
Yeah, exactly. You know us too well.
What is it, harmony?
Yeah,
Is this what we're saying?
harmony. Yeah.
Harmony?
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, it was that moment then I realized that I had to make the changes, and it was more inside changes rather than outside changes. I could have had the confidence that I have now at that age, at that weight. It was just my mental block. It wasn't actually how I looked. It was just how I felt about myself.
Yeah, I think you probably always knew that you wanted to look different, though, Nicole, and that was your motivation. Because I think the universe, doesn't trip us up. I think it's looking to mind us. It has us in its focus, knows what we need, and is delivering. And it just delivers differently for different people and at different times. So you clearly learned at that time in your life that this is something that gave you meaning, gave you purpose, gave you practice. So you're out of your bed in the morning, you're going for your walk with your dogs, you're going to the gym, and you're managing nutrition, because food is data as well. What we eat tells our body individually, bespoke to all of us, how to be and how we are. And so you changed all of that. What would you say the biggest change in your life was in terms of the weight loss? Do you have a particular way of eating now? Did you?
Yes,
Yes.
I batch cook a lot of food. So my partner is recovering, from surgery. So he can only eat certain foods, and we are quite regimented in our foods. People think I'm very weird for this, but I eat the same thing for my lunch and my dinner pretty much every day. And I batch cook that on a Monday or Sunday, and I batch cook again on a Wednesday. And we will literally live off that all week. Then again, at the weekend, I throw all of that to the side and have a Chinese or go out. But
Harmony.
harmony, exactly. I'm very, what's the word? Very motivated in eating the same things because it just takes the hassle away from me.
Yeah, you don't have choice fatigue.
No.
And that wouldn't work for some. So can you share with the group, what is this thing that you eat?
Yeah, I actually did a video on it on my social media the other day, and it went really well. People were like, you eat this every day? So it doesn't sound the healthiest, but he can't eat vegetables at the minute because of his surgery. So I batch cook basmati rice, pulled chicken, and peppered sauce.
Yum.
And that is literally it. It has
Stunning.
470 calories in it and 42 grams of protein. So I know I'm hitting my protein goal every day to be able to go to the gym. I know I have my macros and all the way I want them to be. Obviously, you probably should add vegetables in, but at the minute we don't.
Okay, so you're getting your fibre, I'm sure, in some other way,
Yeah,
are you?
absolutely,
you
yeah.
Maybe supplement. Tell me, is that enough though? Speaking from the point of view of a volume meter here, I think that wouldn't fill a hole in my tooth. So
Yeah.
is that enough for you? Do you get used to that over a period of time, or?
Yeah, well, see, I would have for my breakfast, I would have a protein shake and a yogurt, like a protein yogurt, and then I would have that for my lunch and then that for my dinner. In between, I'll maybe have a snack of a little bit of fruit, or I'll have a packet of crisps if I'm feeling like I need it. So it's not that I just eat those 2 meals a day. I will vary it. And then, as I said, some days I'll throw all the caution to the wind and get something else.
So you're loving it. That's what I think that is actually the ticket. I was listening to see what's the golden nugget, and I think the golden nugget is your belief in it.
Yeah.
I'm very sure that you understand your macros, and I'm very sure that you're balancing it. And definitely protein, we all need to hit our protein target, without a doubt. But we need, I think, to fibre max as well for the general longevity solution. That said, in this moment in your life, what I'm really hearing is that you believe in it.
Yeah.
And I think whatever we believe in works. You know, if you say it works, you're right. If you say it doesn't work, you're right. That's, I think, the elixir.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, hearty congratulations.
Thank you.
You look absolutely stunning, and may you continue to do wonderful work in
Thank
that
you so
department.
much.
So, Emilia, tell me then, as you're doing your modelling, who engages you? When are you engaged by them? What do you do? What do you model? So you model bikinis, obviously, you referenced.
I model a lot of clothing. Fashion's always been really near and dear to my heart, but I think growing up, viewed it through a very specific lens. You had to look a certain way to be involved in fashion. We were watching America's Next Top Model yesterday, and I think just there's been such a big cultural shift from when I was young that, I finally believe that it can be somewhere where I can exist in the space. And I've really worked hard a lot of people view their bodies as changeable in a way. Like they'll look at themselves in the mirror and they think, if I could just, this was just a little bit more like this and this was just a little bit more like this, then I would be fine. I try and think of my body as like an inanimate object almost. So like if I was decorating this table, I wouldn't get out a tablecloth and think, oh, but what if the table was a different shape? The table is the table, dress the table, like make the table look nice. So that's what I kind of do with myself. And I feel it's really empowering to dress how you want. I spent so much of my life believing that clothes that I liked weren't for people like me, that clothes that made short skirts and revealing tops and things that were maybe a little bit tighter, they weren't for people of a certain size because, well, then you didn't look good. And this concept of what was good haunted me for like most of my life, to try and work out, what does it actually mean to say something is flattering? Are you saying that they look thin? Are you saying, is that really what it comes down to? And I had to unpack that. And I guess a big part of where I exist in fashion is in these spaces that don't try to think about fashion as flattery. Think about fashion as what will make me look the skinniest, what will make me look the most snatched. Like it's very much, okay, well, what do these two fabrics look like together? What does this pattern with this color look like together? And what if the whole thing was pink and fluffy? Like, is very much just following your heart. And so I've become engaged in a bunch of brands and spaces that follow this philosophy a bit more.
And confidence is sexy.
Yeah.
I mean, what you're doing now, as you tell it, is so inviting. And it's an energy that a lot of, let's say, the other shapes and sizes that you reference there as you chat, as you talk about your story, probably couldn't access if they tried. We probably would need to put them on a trampoline to get up to try and find that frequency, and they mightn't be able to hold it.
Funny, because body positivity is a worked concept that plus size people have maybe had to work on a bit more. And then hilariously, we end up with this scenario where the people that are a bit bigger maybe feel a bit more confident than the people that are a bit smaller because they've not had to practice this over and over and over. And I think that body positivity as a concept is for everybody, whether you are a size 2 or a size 22. Like, you will be looking at yourself and not realizing subconsciously that you're thinking something that's not that nice. You'll be looking at yourself and you'll be like, what is my hair doing? Or what is this doing? And I think people think that being positive is that you look at yourself and you think, damn, like I look so good. But it's not. It is looking at yourself and maybe thinking these things and then fighting and going, no, like, oh, you don't think that, your stomach looks squishy, but like, it is a stomach, I find myself often challenging the thought. I'll look at a picture of me and I'll think, oh, I don't look thin. And I'm like, you're not thin. Why would you look thin? It's okay that you're not thin. That's okay. You look good. So yeah, this is kind of more where it comes from. It's like
it's a philosophy as well, isn't it?
And you have to fight.
Yeah, you do.
It's like it's a practice way of being, to constantly challenge these negative thoughts that are going to be coming to you, because that's the way society is. And they've saturated you constantly all the time with these perfect, imperfect, false kind of visions of what you should look like. So,
and bigger body is only one way of looking at aging positively, because again, as you say, being able to look at yourself in the mirror at all and then deciding what you see when you look in the mirror, because the I that is me, this I won't always see. The I that is me is on the inside. And if I can fall in love with what's on the inside, then what I see on the outside will align with that. And as we get older, particularly in a world of aesthetics and procedures and so many more opportunities for all of us to exogenously try and change the look of us, we're challenged all the time, I think, between confidence and self-esteem. So, confidence is a learnable skill. And as you're chatting, I'm learning. As I watch and listen, I'm learning. Confidence is a learnable skill, and it's a buoyancy, and it's absolutely an art of acceptance, and it is an art and a craft. And a lot of people could probably learn that. I wonder what you think about this, Emilia. They could probably learn it, but maybe their self-esteem might still be very low. So the self-esteem being how I perceive I'll be received. So confidence being one thing, it's how I present me, but maybe on the inside then, self-esteem still being quite low. And I wonder about the trip hazard that is. So when people listen to somebody like you who has clearly done all the work, and you've had those darker times, but through those darker times, you've grown into a more confident version of you, and somebody who's able to and willing to and happy to be visible and share with others how to do it too. Do you have a word of advice for somebody who'd love to be there, but their self-esteem is so low they just can't access the confidence?
Don't assume that everybody has it automatically built in. I don't think that as humans we will ever get to a stage where we look at ourselves and think no negative thoughts, and that's not your fault. It's not that you've been, it's not that you failed at changing yourself to be confident. As you mentioned, confidence is how other people perceive you. It is actually very little to do with what you think about yourself. I know that through my story, I've mentioned that previously my self-esteem was so low that I didn't see a future. I didn't see a point going on because I really didn't like myself. And I think people think that now when I look at myself, I really like myself, but you still get the same thoughts. You still get the same built-in instincts, the same inner voice that will criticize you. And it is just about practicing arguing. There's a very famous kind of old story about there's two wolves within each of us, and the wolf you feed will win. And I think if you look at yourself and you think something negative and you allow yourself to believe that, it almost becomes true in your brain. It almost manifests as reality because you fed it, you believe it. Whereas if you look at yourself, you think something negative and you argue, you're feeding the belief that you're worth more than that. And I think that enough time over and over and over again, that's what then projects this air of confidence. You know, that's what then makes other people look at you and go, oh my goodness, she's so confident. And they assume that you never have these thoughts or struggles to begin with. But everyone does. And definitely my advice to someone else would be, don't think that you're failing just because it's still there. It's more of a rewrite in your approach to dealing with your thoughts than rewriting your thoughts, because that's not possible. We can't control what we think ourselves.
For sure. And thoughts are not real anyway. They're not real. They're just your thoughts. And they're like, you know, invisible guests in your journey to wherever that you didn't invite along. And you can dump them if you choose, you know, if they don't work, if they don't serve you. That is, and you're so right, the self-fulfilling aspect of the story you tell yourself is a really good place to start if you're suffering from low self-esteem. And even if you can fake it till you make it sometimes is a good place to start as well. It won't sustain you. It's exhausting. You know, it consumes a lot of your energy to do it. But if that's where you need to go to start, I think it's a really good place to start.
I find it also helps sometimes to take the things that you struggle with on yourself and think about people you love that maybe have them. So I have some friends that will go, oh, I hate my arms. I feel so terrible. And I'm like, well, what do you think of mine? Mine are bigger than yours. And they'll go, well, no, your arms look fine. And I'm like, okay, so mine are bigger than yours and mine look fine. Yours look fine. You know, they struggle when it's them because self-criticism comes so naturally to us as human beings. And when it's external, all of a sudden you take a minute and you take a beat and you think. So that would be another piece of advice I have. If this is new to you on your journey to maybe feel a bit better about yourself, is try and externalize some of the things that you're struggling with. Think about people you love and think about what you think then about them and their being, you know, because we never think the things that we think about ourselves about our friends.
And the inner critic, you know, just tranquilize the inner critic. And exactly as you say, imagine how you would speak to somebody you love and speak to yourself like that. Mm-hmm. Because very often, even the silly thing, the throwaway comments we make, we might drop something and we have something's, you know, we might say something out loud or with our quiet voice inside that's quite self-deprecating. It's pointless. It's just a throwaway statement. Oh, you big silly moo. And I know we have other versions of that we might say. But even that, we need to arrest ourselves in those moments and just not allow our self-talk to be self-deprecating. We need to really retrain the language in our brain to be, you know, self-loving and to raise ourselves up.
I think this is where affirmations fits in nicely.
Yeah.
Because it is literally training you to say these things and appreciate these things about yourself. And a lot of them aren't necessarily physical, because one side of it obviously is people are beautiful and beauty comes in all different shapes, sizes, ages, colors. Like we are all physically beautiful, but also beauty is so internal. Like what makes someone magnetic to watch or listen to a lot of the times is the way they present themselves and the way they care about their friends and their family. And I think, again, that's why so many of our things are, I am empowered and I am loyal and really focus on the inside you. I think that's kind of...
And I have harmony.
Yes.
Yes. Nicole, tell me, so your body size has changed, your body composition has obviously changed. Has your view of yourself changed? Very often, I think when people lose weight and or if they've been poorly for a while, I work with people who have chronic ailment, and thankfully through the process of psychoeducation, they understand that it was something that served them at a given time. It was, you know, something they focused on and their body kept score. And it's equally as possible to put that down when the time is right and when they do the right work. But they might still have illness mentality. And so they might still see themselves in a sick body as such. So has your sense of self and what you see when you look in the mirror changed?
I would say that's a 50-50 answer for me, because I see myself in the mirror and I obviously look very, very different than I did before. I also went from brunette to blonde, so that's a big change. But I definitely would say that I pull myself apart a lot more now than I did before the weight loss. When I was a bit bigger, I just almost accepted the fact that I was a bigger girl and I was happy. And that's what I put out to the world anyway, that I was happy, I don't care, blah, blah, blah. And then now that I've lost the weight, I constantly strive to lose more. I constantly strive to be a certain way, tone up my arms, tone up my legs, like certain things. And exactly what you said, I would never say those words to any of my friends. So when I put a dress on and I feel confident and I look at something and I'm thinking, oh, well, that leg could be a wee bit slimmer. And then I'm like, why are you doing that? I would never say that to one of my friends. So I think it's a very 50-50 answer for me. I think on the outward scale, of course, I look completely different and I am very confident in who I am now as a person, probably inside as much as I would say outside. But I do tear myself apart a lot more now, and I try to stop.
So you like what you see.
Yeah.
And you have to work as a practice, not a mandate, at feeling that. You look in the mirror, you can like what you see because you can almost see it like as if it's somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to make sure that the inner critic doesn't grab a hold of it and pull you back.
Yeah. That's so difficult to do.
It's a practice,
Yeah.
isn't it? It's like everything else. It's like meditation. It's like the gym. You have to show up. You've got to keep showing up. And I wrote a poem called Sometimes You Just Gotta Hur It Out.
Love
And it's the heuristics, the HEUR.
Yeah, I was going to
I know,
say.
you cheeky mare. How dare you?
No, I was
But
in
it's-
support.
Yeah,
I
but
was like,
it's
where's this poem?
but it's a great one. Well, it's available. It's out there. Sometimes you just got to hur it out. So
Yeah.
the heuristics are when you do something and you don't know what the outcome is going to be. And I've worked on that particular theory with businesses as well, because sometimes you don't know where this is going to go. But if you're risk averse, you may not level up. And if you continue doing what you always did, your business might serve you, but you might work so long and hard in your business that you can't really take a break. Whereas if you can work on your business by sometimes taking the risks that end up working out hugely for you, you get to change your whole life. So it's important to do things differently. And even if you don't know the end result, just believe that it's going to serve you. So from that perspective, is there anything that you might do in your business that is a little bit risque that you mightn't have done before? Now that, for example, you've changed everything about yourself, is there anything about the business that you might change, or any new departures or new ventures? You mentioned you've 2 new products, but that's all, I presume, still within the beauty product range. Anything else? I mean, might you guys, we've heard of makeup companies that have merged with other makeup companies, and they've gone and they've done lifestyle brands. And
I have a bit of an answer for this for us.
Oh, go ahead.
I think since you have become more comfortable in yourself, you have become more comfortable in representing I Am Beauty in a lot of ways too.
Yep.
And I think people adore behind the brand sort of founder-led content. And it's been such a joy to watch you over the years get more comfortable to give people that and get to know you. I think all of our products say by Nicole Gordon with the script on them, don't they?
They do, yeah.
And I love that you've given our community a chance to really know what that means.
Oh, do you know what? That's happened because you bombarded me for years to be like, people want to know you, people want to know you.
And they do.
That's the thing. At the start, I found that very difficult to go on and talk to your phone. See people that think that influencer lifestyle is so easy. It is one of the hardest things to do, is to get the confidence to put your phone in your hand and start talking to strangers on the internet. And before my self-love journey, I couldn't do it. I panicked, or I would have reshot videos 50, 60 times, would have sent them to Emilia, been like, is this okay? Is this okay? Whereas now it takes me a second. I put a video up. If it hits well, great. If it doesn't, I move on to the next one. I don't let that, we were actually talking about this on the way down, I don't let chasing endorphins hold on to me as much as I used to do. Still do, obviously, every now and then.
Post and ghost. It's the only time we want to hear the ghost in
Absolutely.
the digital space, the post and ghost, because if you hang on to it, exactly, and if you're chasing it, it is exhausting. I really get that.
Yeah.
I'm such a novice. I'm not a digital native, and I'm such a novice in this space. And the boys are so supportive of me here, and they give me great ideas all the time as to what I need to do and should do to get myself out there more. And I don't do it, and I haven't done it yet. But I still hope, because I'm closer to the 6th floor than I am to the 5th, I still hope that I'm the human resource that this space needs, and that the digital team will just present itself. It'll fall out of the sky.
Yeah.
Because there are times as well when that's true, it's very hard to do. And then there's the next level. It doesn't really grow you. And that whole side of things, from my own perspective, doesn't grow me. I would need to outsource that for the rest of my life. But clearly, because you're in a business where you have the team around you, and you are at this stage in the business, which is, it has grown legs of its own now, and then you're on this self-love journey, I think together the perfect marriage of that, and definitely what I see on the couch, and the energy of the fondness and the friendship between the two of you, I think is like a thread of gold through your business. I really do.
love that.
I think it's so important. Honestly, I can feel the energy and the support and raising each other up and minding each other and looking after each other. Some people are so poor, all they have is money. Some businesses are so successful, all they have is today's big hit. What you guys have is the longevity solution for the business, I think.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, there's room for love in the boardroom.
Absolutely,
And
there
this
is. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, we're very fortunate. We've never had an argument.
No,
Nicole and I have been best friends 10 years, never had an
no,
argument.
never had an argument.
And that lovely friendship started with your animals as well. So
Yeah.
obviously, if you're animal lovers and you've got that in common, there's a lot of your phenotype
Yep.
collectively is very like each other.
Well, I loved your pups so much that I bought an identical copy of her. My dog that I have is the exact same breed as all of your dogs.
Yeah,
'Cause I was
absolutely.
like, this is great. I want my own.
Yeah, and then of course when you're socializing together in the park, you've got dogs that can get along because some dogs don't socialize very well together. So whilst it sounds very basic at one level, it's also very, very important. And dogs are like members of the family nowadays. For those for whom they matter and for those for whom they become a member of the family is what they are.
Yeah.
We live in a different society altogether. I actually think that was one of the other very positive things that happened during COVID. Now, I know that a lot of animals didn't do well after COVID. I think people took them on for COVID and then maybe didn't follow through. That's a sad story that we won't discuss today. But I think for people for whom animals are important, they're really, really important.
Yeah. I got my second puppy actually before lockdown, and that was what we said every day. He was the reason we got up and went out for walks. He was the reason we were doing this, that, and the other. And yeah, he's just a little dote.
Oh, and it's very binding in a relationship as well. If you both love the dog, and if you both, and as you say, the lifestyle medicine that happens very innocuously. You're out. You've got to walk the dog, not least because the house will be pulled apart. Did you say you've got 5?
Yes, I've got 5.
Oh my goodness! And are they all in the house?
Well, it's a bit of a random story actually. My partner shares his 2 dogs with his ex-partner, so we have joint custody of 2 crazy staffy collie mixes, and then I have a cavapoo and a cockapoo. And then, as I said, the day that we got engaged, Chris actually bought me my dream dog, which was a golden doodle. So she is 17 weeks old, and she's now in the house 24/7 causing chaos.
I was going to say, God, the devotion that is required to get through that.
Yeah, 5 dogs is a lot.
Oh my goodness. You're hilarious when I hear you saying the joint custody. I've never heard that before. I'm sure it's probably common language. I've never heard it as a parlance that...
I'm not going to lie, I found it a little bit bizarre at the start. I was like, wait, what do you mean that you're best friends with your ex and that you share dogs together? And he was like, it's normal.
Co-parenting the dog.
I was going to say, it's such a wonderful co-parenting relationship.
Yeah.
And we love the dog's mummy.
Oh yeah, now we're best friends.
Everybody's really good friends.
With the ex as well.
Yeah,
I love
we're
it.
really good friends. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, do you know what? It's the only way, isn't it? I mean, on your self-love journey, even if you weren't great friends with your partner's ex-partner, you could decide to have that love affair with her, with your quiet voice inside, and that would grow you. Because anything to the contrary could likely offend your health, your wellness, your immune system, you know, social events that you're at together that she might have to turn up to. I actually think it's a really good way to look at estrangement of any kind and disgruntlement and, you know, lack of connection or reason for lack of connection. You can do your forgiving, you can do your relating well to people quietly. They don't even need to know you're doing it.
Absolutely.
Again, it's the happiness is an inside job and speaks to the brand so beautifully because as you put on your makeup, if your partner is going to meet his ex-partner to hand over the dogs or get the dogs for the weekend, you could be putting on your makeup with quite gritted teeth until you read the affirmations and then until you check in with your own self, put your barometer into your own emotional state and realise, I'm okay with that. It is what it is.
Yeah.
It's a wee reminder to be mindful. And I think the concept of mindful makeup kind of confuses people because people don't actually understand what it means to be mindful. Mindfulness is checking in with yourself. How do I feel? Why do I feel this way? How would I like to feel? And how can I get there? And I think that that's what we do is we're a little prompt, maybe when you're doing something else, especially when you're putting on your makeup and people maybe feel the most negative, and just a wee mindful moment, check in, remind yourself that you're beautiful and strong and you've got this. So, yeah.
That is lovely because a bridge has to be built from both sides. So if you're trying really hard on a given morning or an evening when you're going out and you're getting ready, and if you're trying hard to feel better but you just can't get there, and then you lift up your product and it tells you the thing that you haven't found the language for, it just might be that moment where you get over the rivers of change more gently. And
Bridges the gap.
It bridges the gap. That is so lovely. That is so lovely.
Such a big job that any additional support from your environment is worth its weight in gold.
Absolutely.
And you need to engineer your life in as many ways as you can to support you.
I know, because there are so many reasons to be angry and annoyed and disappointed in life, and very few, by comparison, to be joyous and happy. And when we have any of them, like with these products or in your company or your community, I love I think the biggest thing I'm hearing, the biggest takeaway from me is, without a doubt, the brand and the business are doing really well. You two, as representatives, founding member, visionary, founder of the company, and representing team, fabulous people. So I'm bought in completely. The bigger takeaway for me is the community aspect of it. That to me is the longevity for the business, for the brand, and for the lovely people far and wide that get to tap into that, who might be sitting on their own in their home on a given day. And when they just go to put on their makeup, they get into that movement, that ideology, that different way of looking at things, just because you've created this community. So it is literally way more than just a makeup brand.
It is. It's a movement, mindful movement. That's what we say. We're trying to do anyway.
Well, may time expand for you. You are two absolutely amazing ladies. I have thoroughly enjoyed our conversation. It's been an absolute pleasure. I really look forward to trying all of the products and feeding into your community.
Yes, please do.
I will indeed. Thank you so much for joining us on the Síle Show.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, it has been a blast.
Yeah, absolute pleasure.
Thank you. Yeah, long may it continue to bring joy to others. What was your saying? The Síle Show magic?
Oh, the kiss of the Síle Show
The
is
kiss
real.
of the Síle Show.
The kiss of the Síle Show is real. We have had so much feedback from people who've joined us on the Síle Show, and they've gone on to do wonderful things and experience wonderful changes, little shifts in their lives that they very kindly equated back to here. So again, it's like we speak energy. I personally speak Irish fluently, English fluently, and energy fluently, I dare to say. And I think on the Síle Show, we speak in energy, and we've been blessed. The people that have crossed our thresholds have been meant to be here. There's not been one, unfortunate experience, not one interview that didn't fly for us or for other people. But one lovely person had a fantastic experience after being here, and things weren't really going brilliantly for said person. I won't even say male or female. And a lot of lovely things that we discussed on the show, and the energy that we experienced after the show, because said individual stayed for longer than normally happens. Wonderful things have happened for that person. And she dubbed the phrase, the kiss of the Síle Show is real. So we took it because we likened it to, the curse of Hello Magazine.
Yes.
Well, we're the complete antithesis of that.
Yeah.
It's the kiss of the Síle Show.
I love that.
So
well, may you continue to smooch the masses and bring your blessings to all. It has been an absolute delight to receive today.
Smooch the masses. I love that.
I love it. I hope that's going to be in the brand going forward.
Absolutely.
I need to show up in that
100%.
brand. Guys, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
And there you have it. Two absolutely fabulous ladies whose journeys of self-discovery, shaped by periods of deep inner struggle, have led them to reclaim their own confidence, resilience, and agency, whilst building a brand that reminds their clients and customers of their inherent worth, offering products and rituals that support self-acceptance and self-efficacy in equal measure. Their story reminds us that even in the darkest moments, growth, creativity, and reconnection with self and others is eminently possible. Through I Am Beauty UK, Nicole and her team, represented here today by Emilia, are creating more than products. They're offering their client base a daily invitation to honour themselves by practicing the art of being present for and to themselves, by being intentional, and by understanding the full bandwidth of what it truly means to care for self. And so, dear listeners, your task for this week is to just let your reflection become a ritual of kindness. Each morning, stand before your mirror for a little longer than you might usually. Instead of rushing through your routine, look into your own eyes and then look for longer. See what you may have overlooked before. Allow your gaze to soften, not judge, and speak to yourself with the same compassion that you would offer a dear friend. As you cleanse, tone, and moisturize, let it become an act of reverence and self-soothing. In every tender touch, every gentle caress, every mindful sweep with product across your beautiful face, feel yourself nurturing and honoring your uniqueness. This isn't a task about perfection. It's about presence. It's about showing up fully for gorgeous you. Your reflection is way more than a surface image. It's a doorway into your personal field, that electromagnetic space where attention, energy, and intention converge. Where your focus goes, your energy flows, shaping not just how you feel, but how your mind and body respond. Every glance, every thought, every gentle acknowledgement sends a subtle signal to that quantum field. And so by seeing yourself consciously, with care and infinite curiosity, you begin to influence the patterns of your own energy, cultivating confidence, resilience, and limitless possibility. Think of your brain as hardware, the physical structure, the neurons, the circuits, and think of your mind, on the other hand, as the software, the running programs, the programs that you run, the habits, the stories you tell yourself, consciously and unconsciously. Consider too that everything you consume, from what you eat and drink to what you watch, read, listen to, inhale, smoke, you know the rest, it's all data, shaping the programs that your mind runs and therefore greenlighting the programs that are running you. That's the thing you need to be aware of, and running your life choices. The amazing thing is that you can upgrade your software at any time. Whenever you use the mighty I am, speak it with awareness. With those words, I am, and of course, what you say following those powerful words, you are programming yourself at the deepest level. So audit your I am and what follows it. You have agency. Use the words I am wisely to say what you truly wish to be and achieve, and then inhabit that fully. This week, as you stand before your mirror, try this I am beauty mnemonic. I am brave. I am empowered. I am authentic. I am unstoppable. I am thriving. And I am saying yes to me, yes to life, and yes to aging positively. Every I am statement shapes your internal software and programs your perception. You don't get what you want. You get who you are. So whatever you want, be that. Be exactly that. As you inhabit those truths, you emit a frequency that aligns with the life that you are cultivating. And the more you be what you want, the closer you are vibrationally and otherwise to the desired outcome. And so it is.